Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Punjabi Villans podcast. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm joined today by Jaggers and Raj. How you doing, boys?
Good, brother. Good.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining, lads. It's nice to have you back on, Jaggers, and Raj. First time for you, but I don't. We'll be kind to you, mate.
Be gentle, please.
we'll be gentle. We'll be gentle. So I'm going to crack on. It's a little bit of an odd one on a Villa podcast because it is International Week, and there isn't much Villa talk going on. We didn't sign anyone in the transfer deadline and all that. So let's discuss the players that have played, the Villa players that have played. Mings especially. I mean, he didn't get a game for the first game. He didn't get to get on, but actually he played really well against Andorra. What do you think, Raj? What do you think? You first.
Yeah, he played pretty decent. Like, kept his things simple. Wasn't doing those like silly movements that he wanted to do that he usually does for Villa, but he kept it tight to that with obviously in the back with all the other England players as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we've said before, sometimes he's always due at least one kind of mistake. Jaggers, what do you reckon? What do you make of his performance?
Yeah, bro. It was good, man. It was good. It was as always, our Mings consistent when it comes to England. I think the last few times he's played, he's kept a clean sheet. So another one to his for his record there. You know what I mean? I know the couple of games he played in the Euros, he kept his clean sheets there. But then, as you know, I've said it before, when Southgate has got his team set up, that's what he wants. So even though Mings performed really well in the first two games, as soon as Maguire was back, Mings was out. So, it's a shame. But at the end of the day, yeah, so we played Andorra. So Southgate decided to put out his B team, as to say. Unfortunately, Mings was a part of that. But at the same time, he's kept the clean sheet. So, yeah, good on him, man. Good on him.
Yeah, and you say B team because when I did see the team sheet out, I had to question whether or not it was a friendly. I'm like, that's a lot of B teamers, I guess, in that sense. And you're right. I think Mings, Harry Maguire's got that level above him. John Stone's probably got that level above him. We think, being a Villa fan, I think he's great. I think he brings more to the game than just the football. He brings a lot of leadership to it. But you're right. Out of his 14 caps, he's got 12 clean sheets. So that's not a bad stat for him personally. Even if he is on the fringes, he's still going to play like he did in the Euros, where if the players aren't ready, he'll step up. So that's not a bad thing, Raj.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing. But like, do you know what? If he keeps going the way he is, and obviously if Maguire or Stones ever get injured, then England have always got someone reliable at a team to be a backup for him.
Yeah, and talking about go on, Jagger. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with that. He's probably your first choice when it comes to backup central defender, right? The likes of when you got Connor Cody's kind of fizzled out for me. Wolves ain't really performing that well, and I think he's kind of dropped in the pecking order. But Mings is definitely, for me, probably first choice.
And I think it helps and hinders him that he's left-sided because Harry Maguire likes to play on the left side. But because there's not many other left-sided centre-backs, Matthew Upson was one. Yeah. I'm sure there was another one after him that was a left side, and he got a game because it's easier to play in that way. But to be fair, then he's then fresher for us, isn't he? If he doesn't play, he goes away, he gets that experience, he's playing with players. Hopefully his head doesn't get turned, but no, I've always liked the fact that he, whenever he performs for England, he's always performed really well.
Yeah, absolutely. For us last season, it was always that case where if Mings or Konza gets injured, what we're going to do? It's they were kind of our two linchpins in defence. If one of them gets injured, then we would have been struggling to replace one of them. But at least this year we've got our man Twanzebe back, you know what I mean? So yeah. I'm not saying I want Mings to get injured or I want Konza to get injured or anything. But just saying,
last year we did have House to come, and when he did come in, he played well. But like you said, we've got four centre backs, all English, and they're all decent. They all can step in and do a job. I think going back to what you said about Connor Cody, potentially he played with Wolves when Wolves were doing well. He played in the centre of back three, didn't he? So maybe that's got something to do with it with England and stuff. But I mean, that partnership still works. They get on well, and it still works. Talking about like our players and the players that can potentially break into the squad, Raj. An obvious one for me is Konza. I mean, proper underrated footballer. Not just defensive mindedly, but actually really good on the ball as well. What do you think about prospects for some of our lads going to the World Cup, qualifying for the squad, Raj?
Yeah, I think the biggest chance for AO to enter the Villa place, to be fair, I reckon will be Watkins and Ings. That not just for Villa, but for England as well, because obviously Kane's going to always be number one choice for England up front. But as a backup, who could you really think could be good enough for England out of the whole Premier League? Because you've got Bamford, you got Tammy as well, Rashford, who's not in good form at the moment, so he's going to be dropping down the order. So this is a good opportunity now this season for Watkins and Ings to step up and actually cement their place for the World Cup for England. And if they do, I reckon they'll be very good for England as a backup.
I think you make a brilliant point there about the replacement of Kane. We all know Kane's number 9. He's going to be the guy who's always going to start if he's fit. But actually, is there a decent like-for-like replacement? Bamford, I don't think is the player, or the type of player that England need. Watkins is a little bit different as well because he does run the channels a bit more than Kane. But Ings is quite similar, isn't he, in terms of his physicality, in terms of holding the ball up. And he's got, we know he can score great goals as well as score a lot of the goals, isn't it, Jaggers?
Yeah, I agree with you there, bro. It's funny. It's funny you say this. Like, I'm going to go back to the Euros now. Like when Southgate was due to announce his squad for the Euros, I was like, Watkins ahead of Ings. Watkins ahead of Ings. You know what I mean? Because obviously every Villa fan was saying that, and that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted. And for me, I know Ings was banging in the goals and this and that, but all die-hard Villa fans were like, we want Watkins ahead of him. We want Grealish to get into the squad. We want this, we want that. So it's funny how the tables have now turned that Ings is here, and I definitely want Ings to be part of the England squad. I don't care if he's 29, 30 years old, and Southgate don't really like picking these kind of older players.
I know, but who was the other player you mentioned? I don't know who that top player was. I don't know who you're talking about. You mentioned Ings. You mentioned Watkins. I don't know who the other one was. But anyway, quick one. The thing with Watkins though, he brings something different to the forward line, doesn't he? Whereas Ings is quite similar to Kane. Whereas the type of player I'm not saying they're identical, but the type. But what Watkins done is what Vardy does in terms of running the channels. It doesn't give defender a chance. I know, Raj.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, because like. Every time last season, like when the ball was going towards him, he was on the wings, saying like how linking up with obviously, unfortunately with Grealish, but then like their link up was like pretty good like together. And then when the pass was going along, then we was getting the channels in to the passes back to the midfield and then getting the shots on. But then like as you say, like with Ings now, obviously he's like more like a goal poacher. It's something to give not just Villa's season a good chance, but also for England as well, and different option. And how Southgate out to obviously push England to win the World Cup for once.
Yeah, do something different. And the thing, I was looking at the other players. Konza, he's got a lot of competition. Matty Cash has got a stupid amount of competition. And then Target, there's still Chilwell. There's still the guy from West Brom. Not West Brom, West Ham. I can't remember his name now. The left back there. But one year, Danny Mills went to the World Cup. I think he went to Japan, didn't he, when he went 2000? Because all the other right backs were injured. So if Danny Mills can make it because of luck and all that kind of stuff, come on, Cash can make it through, can't he?
Hey, listen, it's. I'm going to be honest. You've mentioned obviously Konza there. He's got a lot of competition, but I think Konza will definitely get into the England team probably within the next few years. I can't see him staying out. The way he performs for Villa, if he continues that, then Southgate's going to have a hard decision not to keep him in, put him in the squad. But at the same time, you talk about Matty Cash. Look, we know now. Matty Cash has been with us for a season now, and we can see the quality he does. He has, and the attributes he shows for going forward, making those die-hard tackles. He's got everything as a right back, but it's just unfortunate he's come in this generation of footballers for England where we've got so many outstanding right backs. Yeah, I can off the I've got 5 already lined up before him. I can say I'm trying to say it's one of those. But it's just unfortunate. That
and they've got the shirt. They've got the shirts at the moment, haven't they? They've got the shirts, and that's the thing with
they have made it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you
Go on,
were
sorry.
saying with Konza, you're saying like in terms of going, but Raj, who do you think he'll displace? Because there's some good centre backs there as well.
Yeah, but it's really difficult to say because at the moment the season's so early, and obviously everyone's like coming back from like not just the Euros itself, obviously having a long season and all, obviously because we've come out now. Hopefully coming out of the pandemic as well itself, and how obviously having the fans, which is a big factor now for footballers, having the fans there at the ground, helping them out.
Yeah,
so
but at
it'd be like a big like motivation for all these England players, because now it'll be something different, and we'll see something more exciting now, as not just as fans, but obviously for the footballers, because we may now see more of like goal sort of thing, if that makes sense. And more surprises. Because obviously now having the home fans makes a difference for these footballers, because you can see during the obviously when there's no fans there, the matches weren't as exciting as they were as a football fan. And it's like they were exciting, but it's like more like like you weren't feeling that atmosphere being at the ground, where obviously you had on the TV you had all the atmosphere sounding, which didn't really go well for it.
You're right. I think massively as well. The banter between fans is hilarious. When you hear some of the songs being sung, they're brilliant. It's so good to hear.
Yeah. But like Sam, as you say, when going back to your question about who's going to display, who Konza can replace, for me, you got obviously there's John Stones and Maguire at the back, right? And then you say Mings. If Harry Maguire gets injured, Mings is probably going to drop into that left central defensive position. However, John Stones, the type of player John Stones is, likes to play the ball out from the back and so forth. Who else is there, that can also emulate that? For me, obviously I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Konza. He would be an ideal replacement. We watch him week in, week out, so we know the things he can do. But Southgate, if Southgate starts popping up to Villa Park a bit more often, he might be able to see these qualities in Konza as well. So for me, he would be a backup to John Stone.
I do wonder how close he made it, how close he was to the squad, because the 30-man provisional squad, there was a lot of hope for Konza, especially. I know we were saying Target and stuff as well, but there's good competition then. It proved it so, because Luke Shaw had a great tournament. But the fact that Alexander-Arnold didn't make it, that is right, isn't it? He didn't make it. So that's that shows something that Reece James.
Yeah, I think he did.
Trippier
I think he did make it, but he got injured, didn't he?
That's right. Yes,
injured just before the tournament.
Yeah. But you're right. So, there's a lot of players there. So I think the best hope is we've got the two up front. We've got the two lads up front, and I think if Ollie hadn't been injured and and if he did start the season, I think he probably would have been in this squad as well. Ings, it's a shame Ings didn't make it in, because he started really well, and if he didn't make it in now, then potentially that's him maybe done for Southgate. But who knows? Southgate's a weird one.
Who knows? I mean, if he obviously fires in 20-25 goals this season for Villa, then Southgate's got something to think about there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can he replace? Can he leave out a striker that's on fire? Can he leave out someone like that? You know what I mean? But at the end, we'll see.
What do you reckon, Raj?
And obviously with Ings' situation as well, because of his age, Southgate don't like, and obviously never say never, but if, like you said, if Ings does have a brilliant season, maybe he will be put into the squad just to give that little experience of him being of that elderly player and boosting up the players. But I reckon the best, apart from them two strikers, I reckon Target's got the best chance, because left back wise, who you got for England? It's Creswell, Chilwell, and also Luke Shaw.
And
Luke Shaw, he's at that age. Luke Shaw's at that age now where he's close to obviously retirement realistically, because he's in his 30s.
And he played Trippier the other day, didn't he, at left back?
Yeah, he did. And he's played Saka there a few times as well, hasn't he? So
it's wing back.
I think it's going to be hard for Target to get.
He's had a bit of a slow start to the season also as well, Target, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a tough. He had a tough half against Watford.
He did.
I think it's knocked back his confidence a bit. The way he performed last season was brilliant, but
Consistent.
that half against Yeah, that's what it's all about. And now we've got Ashley Young there as well. He's probably thinking, before last season, he didn't really have anyone there in competition wise.
Neil Taylor,
when
that's
you think
it,
about it. Yeah, exactly. So now he's got like a world class left-sided footballer who's played for the likes of Man United, Inter Milan. So at the end, he's won things for these clubs. So Target's he's got to up his game now, isn't he?
Yeah, this is true. All right, lads, I'm going to do a bit of a slight change in tact. It was Sadda Banda John Carew's birthday the other day. So in honor for his birthday, John, if you're listening, we love you, man. Raj, I'll go with you first. What are your best moments for John Carew, man, at his time at Villa?
Obviously, the first stage one is going to be his double against the Blues when we won 5-1.
Yeah, man.
And he said when he scored the first goal, literally he ran out into the fans and picked up the ball boy and held him in his arms celebrating.
That was brilliant.
Like, probably like his absolutely amazing. Obviously, with him, Young, and Agbonlahor up front that day, literally the strike force was just immense.
Well, I'll come back to that bit, Raj. Yeah, I'll come back to the three up front. But in terms of Carew, that was his best performance or best memory. Have you got a favourite goal?
Didn't he score the cracker in that goal in that game as well? Didn't he score a cracker in that game? Like, was he in that game?
No. He was Stoke. He scored the cracker. I remember from seeing. I think it was Petrov picked it from the centre spot, and then like done a cross, and then he literally just hit it off the volley on the side. And
off the side and lobbed the keeper.
He lobbed the keeper, and it was Sorensen.
You stole my thunder there, Raj, because that was one of my favourite goals with him. I love that.
I think that was probably everyone's.
We unfortunately, I remember that game because we were 2-0 up and we lost that 3-2, and that actually was a bit of a downward spiral for us. I remember that was kind of like a moment in our season, similar to the Leicester game when Grealish scored his first goal, or that chap scored his first goal. We were up 2-0, lost 3-2, and the season just went from that. And similar to the Stoke game, I remember that it's a game we should have won, and then we lost. Jaggers, what about you, man? What's your favourite memory of Big JC?
Hey, listen, I've had a lot of great memories with JC, man. Anyway, JC, happy birthday, yeah. If you are listening, what I want to say is, I'll tell you what my favourite memory of JC is when he flipping signed for us, because I couldn't believe it that we're getting a player that's played in 3 Champions League finals. For I'm trying to say one of these type of players. I was like, yo, come on, this can't be happening. But that was one of my favourite moments. Obviously, him. I think we were playing in a UEFA Cup game as well, and like bringing back those European nights at Villa when I'm sure he scored. You know what? It's very vague. My memory is very bad, but I can remember like him scoring a few crackers for us. And the type of striker he was prolific, wasn't he? He knew where the goal was, and we've missed that. We have missed that. It's been a number of years where we haven't had this type of a player.
He was a massive presence as well, wasn't he? He had the stature, but he was good on the ball. I remember, you're right, when he played for Valencia. I remember again, same as you when we signed him. He's like, that's a caliber of player that I didn't think we'd get. Yes, we had the Mersons, the Dublins, because they were British players, and obviously Villa are always a big club. People, the British media and the British public know that, but were we that big internationally? And you know what? When he came, I thought that was brilliant. His moment for me, I mean, he scored that hat trick against Newcastle as well, which is brilliant. But him for me was the strip joint, and he getting caught out for that, because he became such a cult hero from that. He was like, brilliant. JC will love you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And I don't think there's any Villa fan he's unanimously loved. There's not any Villa fan who's got any ill feeling towards him. Even when he left under weird circumstances under Gerard Houllier, and he went to Stoke, wherever he went. But we sing and plays, and again, him being at the playoff final with Maharaja Prince in it. It's like this guy is a proper Villa fan, and his cult status is grows and grows, man.
And I think that's probably the first time I realised that how big of a fan he was for Villa, because obviously when you see footballers playing for Villa, you don't see until the aftermath. if they're going to be continuing supporting those sort of teams. So like you got Petrov and obviously Gabby always picking up the Villa no matter what, and obviously Stan Collymore as well.
Yeah, you know what, Raj? I really think the reason for that is because we actually show these players love, man. You know what I mean? If you play for Villa wholeheartedly and you give you everything, then the fans will love you. And I think these players see that, you know, and hence the reason why they then return that love back. You know, I'm trying to say people like Petrov, like you said, Carew, Gabby Agbonlahor, man. You know, Ashley Young come back. You know, at the end of the day, because he knew that the love that he was shown at Villa Park, man. So you know, it's all love, man. It's all good, and you know, that's why I love Villa fans, man. They show they actually they express their true feelings. You know what I mean? No matter if it's
like a
bad
proper
or good,
like a proper
express it
Punjabi
truly.
Jaggers, like a proper Punjabi man.
Yeah, there you are, man.
Right,
there you are.
I
Don't
remember-
hold back. We don't hold back.
Hold back. You're right. We don't hold back. So, Raj, you mentioned before about we had Carew, we had Gabby, and we had Young, right? So the question here is, who was our best front three? And I know back in the day we had strike partnerships, we had the two up front and whatnot. But let's focus when we had the three. Carew, Gabby, and Young were so fast, and we played a lot of counter-strike football then. But I got a few names for you, and I'll mention it here. And for me, there's similarities in how we played. I mean, when we brought Bent, we had Downing, and I think we had Young for a bit, but we definitely had Gabby. So we had Gabby and Downing on the wings, and then we had Bent through the middle. And that half a season when Julio went to hospital and we had McAllister managing us for a bit as a temporary, we shot up the table because we scored a lot of goals and we played some brilliant football. In comparison, I mean, are there any other kind of strike partnerships, or not partnerships, I guess the three up front that you guys think can take this three for a run?
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Raj?
I do. Go on, Raj. You go first.
I'll let you go first, Jack.
Go on, Jaggers.
Okay. Well, obviously, you know, I'm older than you guys, so I probably can remember a bit further back in regards to strike partnerships. And I don't know whether you guys can remember, but we had the likes of Dalian Atkinson, Dean Saunders, Dwight York, you know, around the 1992-93 era, you know, and those years we were smashing the teams in the like Man United in the Coca-Cola Cup, you know, finishing second in the league.
Yeah.
And that for me, honestly, you know, as a Villa fan, you know, the first few years of becoming a Villa fan, for me, that was my favorite like strike force. I can't remember if they played all together or whether, you know, Dwight York came in a bit later, but I do remember that trio. And also you had to the mix the likes of Tony Daly, you know. So for me personally, that was probably my favorite era as a Villa fan. You know, but yeah, you can't knock the likes of John Carew, Gabby, and Ashley Young running that, you know, because it was a force to be reckoned with, them three as well, you know. I mean, the speed, and then obviously the precision up front, you know, it was mad. I remember that game against Chelsea at Villa Park. Mourinho's last game for Chelsea, it was
2-0,
in his first game. Yeah, we won 2-0, and you know, I think Gabby scored and Ashley Young scored. We finished off Chelsea that day, and you know, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, they were a great strike force, but I'm hoping the players that we've got now, and I hope that this is the reason why you mentioned this, but I'm hoping the players that we got now, the likes of Watkins, Ings, Buendia, Bailey, you know,
can drum up
upon. Yeah, Traore, you know, can drum. Trezeguet, you know, you can't. Yes, people say he's not consistent and that, but the things he's done, he's won us games as well, you know. So these are the type of players I'm hoping we can find the right combination out of these 5-6 players, and you know, go to that next level.
Raj, you had time to think about your three?
I know, yes. See, like when I reckon it's when it was 1999 when we were like top of the league, and then we had Collymore, Dublin up front, and then we had Merson as well as a backup. And I just remember that season, like just for the first half of the season, where we just with obviously when John Carew was the manager, we were just killing teams off like for nothing, like, and obviously their connection, playing the triangle passes, crossing it out to Dublin, getting the headers. Collymore, like obviously with his strength and power down the wing, and it's just like immense. But like, I think to be fair, Carew, Young, and Gabby was probably the best front three we've had as a Villa fan, and we want hopefully this season we will see obviously with the new front three, obviously with Ings, Watkins, Bailey, as you say, Buendia, obviously Torres being the backup, Algarve being the backup as well. And like it'd be a very, very interesting season to see how we get on obviously with the new front three now. As we've lost obviously one of our main players.
You're right.
Talking about Villa strikers, got to give a shout out to mans like Savo. Mans like Juan Pablo as well. So don't forget these mans.
Well, that was one of mine because we had Dublin, Vassal, and Nangal at one point as well, who played kind of as they didn't play as a three, the traditional three, but they played in the same region. And but the only thing is with those guys, the rest of the team probably didn't complement them as well. Now the team now in this generation of players we've got now, the last couple of years, is the first time I've been this excited about Villa since the early Martin O'Neill days, since the days we had the guys up front, the Youngs at Gabby's when he was fast as fuck, and we had Carew, finishing it off on the point of that. So it is a hope, I guess, a lot of it will be that we've got this nucleus now of a team that I think will do really well, but it's to be seen. I know it's to be seen. We've got to prove it now. We've lost a big, whoever that guy's name was, we've lost someone who was a catalyst for the team, so hopefully now we take it forward. We actually replace it with our players. We've always done it, Villa. We've always replaced our players. We've always sometimes taken a bit longer than others, but there hasn't been that domino effect this time. So fingers crossed. I know we can crack on. And like you said, these players that we got now, there's no reason why they shouldn't be, the next thing for us in terms of taking us up the league and stuff, innit?
Yeah.
It's interesting that we kind of spoke about and had similar memories on it. Jaggers, I'm probably about a few years younger than him, but I do remember the early 90s, and I remember watching Saunders. I can't remember which team it was, and he scored on the turning volley kind of thing. Smashed it from about 40, 45 yards, whatever it was. And I remember playing. I had a cousin, a Liverpool fan, and he's always saying, "Hey, Saunders at Emmy." I'm like, dude, the guy's smashing it, and he scored. He always scored against Liverpool as well, and that's what was brilliant. So coming up to the games now, Raj, we got Chelsea up next. Now they got that Lukaku up front, man, and he's a beast. And what do you think? First of all, your thoughts on how we'd play against him and possible prediction?
A tough game. It's a very, very tough game, obviously, with this. Because obviously we're missing two of our main players. Obviously, Martinez is going to be missing the game, and Buendia, obviously, because of what's happened in Brazil. Obviously, with that issue. But it's a very interesting one because I've read today in the news that Carew might be injured, sort of thing. So it might be a little booster for us, but obviously it depends how he gets on, if he plays this week with the international stuff going on. But it would be a very, very tough game for Villa as general. But to see how obviously we gel as a team, because obviously we've had Grealish, obviously we've had him in there, obviously he's gone, and obviously now we're going to have possibly Bailey taking Buendia's place, and then obviously having Steers as the keeper. It'll be very interesting, but I still feel that we can pull a shocker out of it because it's still early days, and I reckon we could win Chelsea about 2-1. I reckon.
Nice. Okay, that's nice and positive, Raj. I love it. Jaggers, what are you saying?
The bridge is always hard, eh? It's always hard when we go to the bridge. I can remember a few nightmare memories of us travelling to the bridge, say no more. But, we've also played some big games there as well, So it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be rough, tough. It's going to be a hard for whatever points we get, but I'm going to be optimistic, right? I'm going to stick my neck out there like Raj has, and I think we'll squeeze a victory. I'm not going to say what the scoreline is going to be.
You're just leaving it as a win.
Yeah, man. I'm just going for a win. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. I'm going to be watching it with a Chelsea fan as well, so it's going to be one of them ones. So yeah. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm optimistic to a level. There's a bit of realism. I think we'll, and I don't know. This is me just trying to be realistic, but I think if we get anything, we'll get a draw, and that'll be a good result. If we can come out of there with a clean sheet, even better, because that'll give our number 2, Dead Steer, a bit of a boost as well under the defense against that, especially if Lukaku's playing. But it's like you said, at the moment it's a tough place because they've got momentum behind them. They've got a lot of energy behind them at the moment, and it's them at home. I know it's Chelsea and tractor boys and all that, but still, Fairview, these guys are a class outfit. So we'll see. Yeah. I've gone a bit pessimistic. I'm going for a 0-0.
Hey, that's good enough for me. Sorry, Sam. I want to say, like, at the end of the day, we've got to be on our A game, no matter who plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the team. And we've already said our defense is top class anyway. And if it was a different generation, all of these 4 would have been in the England squad. So, as long as our back 4 is on ball, no mistakes, and to do what they need to do, then, hey, clean sheet is not something that we can't get. You know what I'm trying to say? So,
very true.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed.
It'd be interesting as well. Like with Dean Smith, what tactic he will actually play as well, because obviously now you got Watkins coming back as well. So will he play Watkins and Ings up front as a front 2?
That's an interesting one. He might actually go 5 at the back, isn't it?
You never know.
Not even play the Axel as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So we've got so many options to do to start the game, and it'll be interesting to see, because especially like an evening game as well. So it'll be. I don't know.
Well, I know Konza had a bit of a knock in the last game. I remember watching him at Brentford. He had to come off, didn't he? So I don't know. I'm hoping he's going to be all good for this game. He's training and everything. So
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, boys. So thanks. That's an element done. I'm going to start trying to reintroduce a bit of a quiz now. So I've got some questions for you lads. I've got 10 questions. Some of them are piss easy, and if you don't get them, I'll be disappointed in you, man. But some of them actually did get challenging for me. So I'll start it off. I got alternate. We've got a few minutes left, guys. So first question, Raj, for you. Who scored the winning goal in the European Cup final 82?
1982 in the European final. Before my time, that was.
1982. So when Villa played Bayern.
Yeah, ask me that one. Let's swap.
Peter Witt, you got that one. Go, Tico.
Peter Witt.
So Jaggers, what year were Villa founded?
1874.
Nice, Tiga. Raj, this is probably before your time, but give it a go in a minute. Villa's biggest Premiership win was 7-1. Who was it against?
Yeah, I guess probably the Baggies.
No, it wasn't the Baggies.
We wish.
Go on, Jaggers. Who was it? Hello?
Smurf.
Sorry, you'd cut out and say again?
What Smurf was it?
No, it was Wimbledon.
See, I always get that mixed up anyway.
It's Wimbledon in 95. Okay, so who scored? Yeah. Raj, this one's for you. Who scored the first goal under Dean Smith?
Probably, I'm going to say Grealish, maybe. Go for the obvious.
Jaggers, any idea?
Hey, no, how calm.
All right, for a bonus, who did we play? His first game?
Bloody hell.
It's going back a while. Go on, I'll put your image. It was Tammy against Swansea.
Oh, there you are.
Tammy Abraham.
There you are.
Okay. So who's our longest serving manager? That's to anyone. I wouldn't have got this if I'm honest. I would have had a guess at it out of the managers that were there. I haven't got them to hand now. So
are you talking about like since
ever.
Back in the day and that?
Since back in the day.
I'm just gonna say Ron Saunders.
It is Ron. It is Ron.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It is, yeah. Okay, this one is a bit unfair on Raj because he's showing his age on it. You know this one. Who was the manager when we won the League Cup in '96?
Oh, bloody
Oh, no,
hell.
oh, no,
Right.
that one.
Go on,
Go on.
Raj.
Go on.
Not in the League Cup, yeah?
Yeah.
With Brian Little.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
All right, and this one's quite interesting actually. So, who won the most caps for England while at Villa? So you got the choices of Ashley Young, Gareth Barry, Gareth Southgate, and who was the other one on the list? I'd say Gabby Agbonlahor. So who won the most caps while at Villa?
Southgate, I reckon.
Jaggers, you going for any?
I'm going to say, well, I know Gabby only won 1 or 2, so I'm going to go for Ashley Young.
See, I would have. I got this one wrong. I would have actually gone for Barry myself because I know he started his career off at England career when he's at Villa and he played for a while. But it was actually Southgate, Raj. You're right. It was Southgate. Nice. Cholo, lads, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys jumping on and having this conversation. For you guys listening, follow us at Punjabi Villans on Twitter and follow us on Instagram, Punjabi Villans. And absolutely go on our website, punjabivillans.co.uk. Check out the merch. We'll catch you next time. Cheers, guys. Speak soon.
Nice one, boys.
Up the Villa.